Hello and welcome to Layla's World once more. And I'm sorry for being a bit late and not really posting videos anymore. But but I'm not here to tell you why I've been busy. I'm here to give you the first chapter of the book, The Dare by Cynthia Liu. First, before I read the first chapter, I'm going to read the thing on the back. So it says, "Do you dare to read the dare? 12-year-old Paris Pan has moved to a small town where she has a real shot at making friends, but that friendship comes at a price. She must take the dare, something that caused a girl to disappear on the very property she now resides. To make matters worse, Paris must play basketball against her will, eradicate a crush on the least desirable boy in 7th grade, and cope with a family crisis that was possibly caused by a chili dog." And so that's the simple, and let's go read the first chapter. So, The Dare, Friends, Family, and Other Eerie Mysteries. Chapter 1. Are you afraid of ghosts? Where should I start? The first time I felt my life hanging in the balance, or the moment I believed the deceased had a way of talking to me? Or maybe I ought to begin with the second I walked into that school. Looking back, I should have been suspicious from day one, but now I know that when you want something badly enough, you'll do anything to get it. You'll lie to your friends, steal from your family, eat a whole box of orange creamsicles. You might go as far as taking the dare. But now I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's start at the beginning, my first day at Sugar Lake Elementary. The principal and I stepped down the hall that led to my 7th grade classroom. "Paris Pan," Mr. Carlisle said. "It's not every day we get a new student. I'm sure Miss Wembley's class will be more than eager to meet you." We stopped in front of a door. He bent down to look at me. His big forehead shined under the fluorescent lights. "You play basketball, Miss Pan?" I wrinkled my face. What a weird question. I shook my head. "Well, little girl," Mr. Carlisle leaned in, "you'll learn. We'll make something out of you one way or the other." He straightened. I faked a smile. There was no way I was playing basketball. Mr. Carlisle swung open the door. He gave me a shove, and the door smacked shut behind me. The teacher noticed me right away, and man did I notice her. She was wearing a giant sweater in crosswalk yellow and pink pants. "You must be your new student," she said brightly as she led me to the front of the room. "Class, meet Paris Pan." I counted the kids staring back at me. 7 boys, 3 girls. This is the entire 7th grade? Who wants to get Paris a desk? 2 boys jumped up and raced to the back of the room. They grabbed empty desks and dragged them up to the aisles. Mr. Carlisle wasn't kidding. These people were desperate for someone new. I took off my backpack and studied the 2 boys pushing the furniture towards me. One of them was cute, even though he could use less hair stuff. The other boy was as skinny as a string bean and just plain to look at. I picked the desk closest to me and slid into the seat. A squabble quickly erupted over the other desk. "Jax, Cole," Miss Wembley tapped at the board. "Sit down." Somehow, cute boy won and plunked down beside me. I guess his name must have been Jax, since Miss Wembley had said it and glared at him first. His lanky friend Cole scraped the other desk across the floor and pulled it up to my right. My neighbors studied me like I was a museum piece. Their gaze moved from the top of my ponytailed head down to my straight-cut bangs, to my flat nose and pointed chin. I fidgeted in my seat. "You Japanese?" Jax whispered. I inwardly groaned. Just because I have almond-shaped eyes and black hair does not mean I say sayonara and eat sushi. I tried to pretend I was invisible, but this was some challenge in my sister's hand-me-down jacket. Verona thought everything should be hot pink. Miss Wembley turned toward us, math problems on the board beside her. "Cole, what's 100% of 100? The answer chimed in my head. 100, duh, obviously a trick question. "Cole?" I looked at Cole. He was searching the depths of his brain. 100, just say it, say it. Zero? Holy moly! But what made me wince was the way he said his answer. His speech impediment was 50 times worse than my parents'. He didn't even speak Chinese. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against people who stutter. I just wondered how he got through his days when I could barely get through mine. I rested my forehead in my hands. I should have done more to stop us from moving this time, like lying in front of the U-Haul instead of the usual hunger strike. Suddenly, a tiny wad of paper landed on my desk. Someone was trying to communicate. I put my hand over the wad, slid it to my lap, and opened it. Want to have lunch? TYPTTFY equals tap your pencil 2 times for yes, and I don't take no for an answer. Mayo. Mayo? And what happened to the W in answer? I glanced over my shoulder. A girl with dark red hair and freckles sprinkled across her nose grinned at me. I bit my lip and did the math. Lunch with one person was greater than lunch with no person. I tapped my pencil twice. When the bell rang for lunch, I stood up, and before I could get anywhere, Cute Boy and his friend Cole closed in on me. The rest of the kids got their coats and headed for a door at the back of the room that led outside. Cole put out his hand. Hi. Before I could respond, Mayo stepped in front of me. Leave her alone, Cole. She's having lunch with me. She gripped my wrist and pulled me toward the door. When we got outside, she let go of me at the top of the steps leading to the schoolyard. She tugged on her jacket. Mayo stood tall, nose up and chest out. The country air and food had treated her well in all departments. I rubbed my wrist. Thanks, I think. Cole plus Jax equals stupid Paris. She flipped her hair over her shoulder. Don't let them dumbify you. The boys walked by. Jax puckered his lips at us, which changed my mind about how cute he was. Mayo shook his fist at him. Keep your lips out of the way or I'll let you have it. I'd like to see you try. Jax smooshed the air again and winked. Come on, Cole. They headed down the stairs. Cole glanced back at me. Loose Lips and his dimwit sidekick are trouble, Paris. Mayo sat on the steps and pulled me down with her. You got that? I nodded and surveyed the yard. Children scampered all over the rusty playground equipment. A tennis epidemic just waiting to happen. I know it's not much. Mayo gestured at the staircase. But at least these steps are ours. Hey, Paris. A girl I recognized from class sat beside me. I'm Sam. She set down her lunch bag and put out a hand. We shook. With big blue eyes and dark long lashes, Sam looked innocent, like Bambi. So, has Mayo figured out if you're a freak yet? Sam! Mayo said. I was just kidding. Sam studied me. Where's your lunch? I shrugged. In the cafeteria? You're funny, Paris, Mayo said. We don't have a cafeteria. Here. She handed me half of the ham sandwich, then dumped some Cheetos on her lunch bag. The first thing you have to learn here is that we girls stick together. In a school this size, friends are few and far between. Isn't that right, Sam? Yup. Then the lessons on how to survive Sugar Lake Elementary began. First, the schoolyard. Mayo mapped out the grounds by dragging a stick through the mud, pointing here and there as she laid out the territory. The benches by the fence are where the 6th grade boys prowl, but don't bother with them. They have the IQ of fish. The picnic tables are where the 8th graders hang, and if they bother to speak to you, don't trust them. It's a setup. I spotted my sister at the tables. New friends circled her like a paparazzi. While I always have been the wallflower at every new school, Verona is usually the it girl. She has that undefiable quality that draws people to her like monkeys to a banana. When she got it from in our family, I have no idea. And the playground equipment, Mayo continued, is reserved strictly for children. Don't be caught dead near any of them. Kids in the grades below us are, well, below us, Sam finished. I nodded. It made sense. Mayo stabbed the stick through one end of the yard, and that what over there is what should be avoided at all costs. My gaze followed the stick. A tire swing hung from an oak tree. Another girl from our class was sitting in the tire. Why? I said. Paris, are you blind? Mayo jerked her head towards the tree. Can't you spot the school reject when you see her? Oh, I studied the girl some more. I hadn't paid attention to her in class. I only noticed she was sitting closest to the teacher's desk. Her hair was done in Pippi Longstocking long stocking braids, and she was reading from a book. No one within 20 feet of her. Her face was so pale she looked like she was made out of chalk. That's Robin, Mayo said. It's so embarrassing that she's in her grade, Sam added. Mayo shook her head. What a freak. The way Mayo said freak made me flinch. What's wrong with her? I hope we didn't have too much in common. All she does is rock in that swing with some book. I swallowed. I loved reading. Sam sucked the last ounce from her juice box. But that's not her only problem. No, it isn't. Mayo pointed a finger to her ear and did the cuckoo sign. That girl is mental. Mental? I studied Robin harder. She seemed normal to me. What do you mean? First of all, Mayo said, the braids in the jumper she's wearing under all that dumpy coat should be a major tip-off. But in case you need more proof, Robin hardly ever talks. I can probably count up the number of words she said this year on my fingers. I raised a brow. That was a little odd. Yeah, and get this, Paris. Miss Wembley pretends like that's okay, Sam said. Like she's normal when she's not, Mayo interrupted. I was getting the picture. You mean she's like, verbally challenged or something? Yeah, that's putting it nicely, Mayo said. I don't care what you call it. Challenged, freak, same thing. Mental. Phew. My similarities to Robin ended at the books. I had no problem talking. My fatal flaw was embarrassing myself by talking. Mayo dropped a rock on the dirt. This represents Robin's tree. She drew a wide circle around it. Do not enter the freak zone. Robin's got something no one wants. Understand? Understand? Oh yes. At every school, there's at least one person that gets singled out. Often I feared that person would be me, being the new kid all the time. But fortunately, I've been on quite a lucky streak. Other kids had always been more worthy. At the last school, there was a sixth grader who had a terrible overbite. The school before, it was a fifth grader who looked a bit on the hefty side. So at Sugar Lake, it made sense that Robin, the wordless wonder, was the shoe-in. Thank goodness I'm safe. I smoothed my hair and tried to sound cool. I totally understand. Great. Mayo tossed the stick and dusted off her hands. Sam, I think Paris will do. What do you think? Three's a magic number, Sam said. All right then. Mayo smiled. I hereby declare us a trio until further notice. Whoa, wait a second. I was in? Mayo leaned forward and shifted her knees towards me. There was something we'd like to ask. Mayo and Sam looked at me expectantly. What? I said. I'm having a birthday party, Mayo announced. Wanna come? Birthday party? She was inviting me? I'll be 13 on Friday the 5th. But it's still a party when you only have two people, Sam said. Can you make it? I did everything in my power to remain calm. Mayo and Sam were presenting an opportunity I rarely encountered. Perhaps there was benefits to living in this speck of a town. Perhaps the mere fact that I represented 25% of the female population in the 7th grade was a good thing. Perhaps I, Paris Pan, after 4 years of moving, was finally friendship material. I turned to Mayo. What should I bring? She patted me on the back. Well, a present, I hope, and a change of clothes. It's a sleepover. Bring a flashlight, too, Sam added. Flashlight? Sam, not a word, Mayo warned. Sam shot Mayo a look. I wasn't going to say anything. She scooted in close. Are you afraid of ghosts, Paris? Sam! Mayo flung a Cheeto at her. Friday. She elbowed me. When we can tell you in private. Sounds great to me, I said as if I had no idea about huddling under blankets and telling ghost stories. I finished my sandwich while Mayo talked about her birthday party theme. I glanced at Robin swinging back and forth with her party with her book. Seeing that girl made me glad I'd made it into Mayo's circle of friends. And that's the end of chapter 1 of The Dare. And this chapter was called Are You Afraid of Ghosts? And I will not spoil the next chapter because you're just going to have to look out from one of my videos and see, this is my next video, and it's going to be the second chapter of The Dare. And I hope you like it.